Hello guys, it's I Kill You here, and I'm back again on a creative world ready to bring you another tutorial. And I've got a super simple AFK-able sheep farm here, and without further ado, let's just kind of crack on with teaching you how to build this thing. It's very simple, but first things first, I guess we really should jump in survival. We're in survival, so let's jump out of F5 mode here. We're gonna jump into this farm. Alright. First thing we want to do is get our position lined up. Right click on the sheep. Then once we feel lined up, we can go into our controls, change our button out to any button you feel like. I'm going to use J. Come down, hold the J button down. And I'm not going to do it myself because it'll stop my recording. But if you hit F11, it will put you in AFK mode. You'll be constantly, as long as you're holding down the J button or whichever button you allocated for the right click, it will continue to enable that button constantly. So we're just going to watch this thing go around a time or two, and as we go around we should shear every sheep as long as we line it up correctly. Alright, here we go. Gonna make our first pass to the next level. And one thing that we can do is hit F3 and B at the same time. If we hit F3 and B at the same time, we can see the hitbox of the sheep, and that'll help us try to get lined up. So you're going to want to go around 2 or 3 times just to make sure that as you pass through, you're hitting the hitbox of the sheep every time. So our cursor there on this back side here is all the way at the very top. When we come back around to the next side, it'll be at the bottom. So once we come back to the next side and see if it shears, we should know that we're okay every time. But as we've sheared all the ones in the front the first time, and now it appears that we've sheared all of these, we should be in good position to AFK at this point. And as we come through here, we'll get flooded with a bunch of shears. Oh, looks like we're set up for AFK right now. Now all these sheep may not have regrown their wool yet, but most of them will have. Just depends on the sheep. Alright guys, now that you've seen how this thing works, we're going to go back to game mode 1, creative mode, and I'm going to walk you through how to build this thing. Alright, first things first to note, there are 17 sheep in this farm. That just makes the AFK process a lot easier. Okay, here's the farm in its entirety. Got our shear dispenser there, and we have this water bucket dispenser here that will allow us to enter and exit the farm much easier, as you can see. Alright guys, the first thing you're going to need to do when you come up to this and get ready to build it is give yourself a 13 by 29 area. We're going to come to the corner of our area here and move in 1 block, and you're going to take out your block of choice and you're going to build a line 26 blocks long starting from here. On your last block, on the 26th block, you're going to add 2 blocks on top just like this. Then we're going to come back 1 block and skip 3 and start a line, a block of choice that's 18 blocks long, and on this block, just like we did on the other side, you'll add 2 blocks on top. And when we come down to this end, you'll fill in these 3 spaces with the block of choice as well. That is your very first step created, and get that together and pause the video if you need to, replay if you need to, and I will catch you on the next step. Now we're going to add in our rails, and what we're going to want to do is we're going to take power rails, and see, this was 26 blocks in total here. We're going to need 17 power rails on the shorter line and fill all that in from here to there. That should be 17 blocks if my math's right. And on this other side, it should be 18 blocks. And if you'll take and put a redstone block in the very middle, you'll, on the 17 block one, you should light 17 track side, you should light all of the tracks up. And on the longer side, you'll take and add a lever and turn it on down here, and they should all be lit up. When we get down here to the corners, we're going to take and add normal tracks. So you'll have 1, 2, 3 normal tracks, and then a detector rail, a normal track, and then on this piece that shoots out, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 normal rails, and this space here, a hopper that faces into a chest over here. You'll probably be taking out, you'll be taking out the last block off of our first step to add the hopper into this. Then you're going to take out a comparator and face it in this direction away from the hopper into a block, add a lever on it and a torch. And then you want to add a repeater facing back towards the hopper on top of the block, with a block on top of the torch and a block on top of the comparator. If you hit shift click, you should be able to just place it right on top of the comparator. Same thing here, shift click right on top of the torch. If you've got that figured out, then that should be the end of this step. Now the reason for the lever is so that we can turn the hopper minecart off when we start to leave the farm. Here on the next step, I have some wool laid out so we can count. But what we're going to need is we're going to need 2 grass platforms. You could have dug underneath and built this underneath your grass platform if you'd wanted to, or you can raise it up like I have. And this patch is a 3 by 19 patch of grass. If you'll come down to the end down here, you're going to start the very middle of your 3 wide section right on top of that 3 tall block of choice. You're going to go 3 wide and you're going to go 19 blocks this way. Now just like that on the other side, you're going to start and you're going to come down and you're going to start your row down here, your 3 wide, your middle of it being on this pillar, and you're going to go 17 blocks along down to here. Fairly simple step. Pause the video if you need to. All right, guys, you've got your grass in place, so now we're going to complete this next step. So we're going to add glass in, and you're going to want to make these 3 by 3 glass boxes with a hole in the middle. So basically, if you just want to surround your grass patch in glass, leaving the middle empty, you can come and every other block add a piece of glass in, a block of glass in, leaving these holes where our sheep will sit between each one. Do the same thing on the smaller grass patch, and once that's complete, you're going to take soul sand and you're going to wrap the smaller grass patch, the glass layer in soul sand all the way around, and it should even up the sides pretty nicely. So complete that step and I will get back to you with the next one. All right, guys, we're back again and we're going to encase the farm in two high surrounding of block of choice. Now the first thing to note is that we're going to come on the longer patch of grass side, and our blocks are going to start flush with the glass here and start on top of the glass, and we're going to come out by one and come out by one all the way around the rest of the farm. No need to count that, just bring your blocks out and basically place blocks all along the top of the glass here, and then come out by one and then stay out by one all the way around the farm until you have it encased, and then do the second level. You're also going to want to come and on top of your glass, you're going to add 2 blocks covering it up, and you're just going to leave the hole exposed. 2 blocks and a slab, 2 blocks, a slab, 2 blocks, a slab. You're going to do that for every single one. And same thing in the middle here. The only exception is the ends, because they're going to need to hold in water. So you're going to come up too high on the ends and too high along the back. And the front side's going to be 2 blocks and a slab and 2 blocks and a slab. Now, this is going to be the end of the step completion part. At this point, you're going to want to get your sheep in the farm. So I am going to get a spawn egg, of course, but you're going to need to use leads or wheat to get your sheep in the farm. And what we're going to want to do is put 1 sheep in each hole. My hitboxes are still on. Now this should be 17 sheep. And once that's done, I guess we're going to need to, all right. Once that's done, we can begin to place in our water. And so what we're going to need to get out is water and signs. And I'm also going to want, and you're going to want a dispenser and a button and a little bit of redstone dust. And we're going to come down here to this spot right here, and we're going to take that block out. It's on the smaller side, and we're going to place a dispenser in, open the dispenser, place a bucket of water in. Going to take our redstone dust out like this, and we're going to place a button right there. Now that's our first water source, and underneath we're going to add a sign, and to the left a sign. So we can hit that button, and then there is our water. Now the reason for the slabs is so that the water doesn't come in on the sheet. Now we're going to come down here to where this water begins to end, and we're going to take out our block of choice again, and we're going to come up by 1 there, and we're going to flip around to our back side here, and we're going to place a sign on where the block before the water ends to cut it off, and one there to the right of it on the second level, and place in our water again. We're going to repeat the same process again. We're going to add a second block there, and we're going to cut the water off short by 1 block, and we're going to add a sign by adding a sign, and we're going to put one to the 1 block up and to the right, and then we're going to add our water in yet again. Then we're going to come making sure that we allow the water to carry us around. We're going to come in after the curve, the third block, and put a sign at the bottom and a sign to the left, and we're going to put in our water source again, and we're going to come here, and we're going to cut it off 2 blocks short because it ends on a slab. So we're going to add the block there, cut it off, top left, and add our water in yet again. And same process again, cut it off 1 short, sign, water source block, and that should get us all the way around the farm. Alright guys, now that our water is all in, we're going to come back to the end away from the dispenser, and we're going to get rid of that water there. It's going to be easier to do the next step. And what we're going to need is we're going to need a redstone torch, some dust, a repeater, a comparator, and a couple droppers. And so what we're going to want to do here is we're going to place a block there for the temporary, and we're going to face our dropper downwards, and we're going to remove that block, and we'll come out underneath the dropper, and we're going to go too wide here, and we're going to drop down underneath and add for the moment, we're going to add a temporary block and a hopper, and we're going to add a hopper facing into the first hopper. Then when I want to come out, a block there, and add one more hopper. Oh, one more hopper in there, not there. And then we're going to want to come here on the end of. I want to come here on the end of this hopper and add a dropper in facing upwards. I'm going to come underneath and give ourselves some working room so that we can do some redstone on this dropper here. And I'm going to need this right here, this space right here. And we're going to bring out a comparator and a repeater and redstone dust and one more repeater facing into that block there. Alright, at this point we're going to have to come in here and get a block of glass out. Any block you want, any color you want, it doesn't matter. We're going to use light gray. It's clear, pretty much. And we're going to do this here. And we're going to bring out hoppers again and do just like that. And surround the rest of this here in glass. And that's going to be our little mini dropper elevator. So at this point, we're going to want to get out a piece of string. And the string is very important. We're going to put the string on that block there. And come around here underneath the dropper and add a torch. And watch what happens when we put this redstone dust on top. That's the very mechanism that's going to fire refilling you with shears. So as I drop into the string, gotta let it give it a second. It's going to update that burnout clock, as it's called, and it's going to fire out several shears. And whatever doesn't get picked up is going to fall into these hoppers and get recycled back through the system. So at this point, you might want to grab your shears, and you can, oh, sorry, wrong thing. Grab your shears and fill in there, and they will begin to cycle through the system. We can turn around and add our water source block now. And as you can see, the water updated it. And should all pretty much be filled up again. And believe it or not, guys, aside from dyeing your sheep whichever color you want to dye them, this is the entirety of the system complete. So I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you get plenty of wool from it. My experience was I did a little test, and it's about 400 an hour, so it's not as much as Snow Crash's farm, but it's very simple. And it relies more on you moving around, which is going to be more consistent than relying on the sheep's AI to move them around. So I find that because we're on the slow sand and that we're going to circle around, that we're probably going to get a better production even at our 400. Now, we could add as many sheep to this as we wanted to, and we could get up to 1,500 an hour if we wanted, but 400 an hour for 17 sheep, it's not bad. So if you liked the video, if you got any questions, leave a comment. If you liked it, leave a like. And if you enjoy my content, please don't hesitate to subscribe. I would appreciate your support. And as always, guys, thank you very much. This is I Kill You here, and we are signing off in F3B mode. There we go. We're going to hide that, and see you guys later. Bye-bye.